Actually, this entire podcast episode is going to be a coaching in action segment. And again, remember the topic is where can I get the most marketing bang for my buck? So we have assembled questions that were submitted by our listeners, and we've chosen the top 10, what we thought would be the 10 most pertinent, most relevant questions. And those are the questions that we have. And we have a great guest with us today, my co-host on the podcast, Naren Aruraja. So, hey, Naren, I guess I'll welcome you on the show this time. And you're going to be my marketing expert. And I'm very happy to have that because, in fact, you are my marketing expert, not only for Life Smiles, but for our clients as well. When they're looking for a marketing resource, I highly recommend your agency. We've been a client now for over 7 years at Life Smiles and producing amazing results. And the cool thing is I see them repeated time and time again from my clients. Spending less than they've ever spent, getting the exact number of new patients that they need. And not only just the number of new patients, but the quality of the new patients as well. So my clients that are more interested in getting the right types of new patients in terms of high value services, that's how you customize your marketing for them so that they get more of the kind of patients that are interested in the high value services that are offered in the practice. And I just want to make an opening statement in saying that, in 2024 and beyond, marketing is extremely important because new patients are the lifeblood of a thriving practice. Now, of course, all our existing patients are appreciated and valued, of course. But at some point, if you're successful with your patients, you get those patients restored. You get them in great oral health. And of course, we'd love to celebrate that. But if you're going to continue to grow, continue to serve people in your community, then new patient flow is absolutely vital for a thriving practice. So all of this is geared around helping you get the right number of new patients in the right type of new patients, all at a marketing budget that should fit your budget. Spend less than you ever have getting results you've never achieved before. Naren, how's that for an introduction? Does that sound like that's we're going to be accurate on that? Are we going to deliver our promise?
Absolutely, Gary. We're going to definitely deliver our promise. And I have 17 years of experience helping, and even Life Smiles, we've been helping out for 7 years, really helping practices do well with marketing. So everything that I know from the last 17 years, you're going to get it today. So I think these questions you have assembled, Gary, from the audience and the way you've organized them, I think is perfect because it takes them step by step on how to think about marketing, what are the options, and how to work smart with marketing.
Well, let's take a deep dive on this. Let's get started. So, Naren, I think you and I would both agree, and all of our listeners would agree, that referrals are fantastic. We love to get referrals. When patients go out and tell other people about you, those are great sources of new patients because they already arrive with an awareness and appreciation for who you are, what your practice is about because of the strength of the referral. So outside of referrals, what are some different ways I can get patients?
Absolutely. There are two big buckets. Of course, majority of practices even today get most of their patients by belonging to a PPO plan. You sign up to a plan and then they'll keep sending you patients. We all know the catch, almost half, 45%, and in some cases, 50% of what you produce is given up to the PPO plan, either in the form of a fixed fee, meaning they control your fees, or in the form of reduction in fees. So they don't pay you the full fee, even the fixed fee that you agreed to, but they also keep some of it. So these are the two ways PPOs work.
And then, Naren, of course, maybe some of our listeners haven't heard me say this, but I want all of our listeners to think about those PPO adjustments, the insurance write-offs, as a marketing expense, because you're paying the PPO plan to provide you patients.
100%.
But it's a little sneaky because it's not like you're writing them a check and it shows up on your profit and loss statement. The money is taken out before you ever got it. But you need to think of that as a marketing expense because it is just that. You are paying the PPO plans. And that amounts to hundreds of, it depends on the size of your practice, but hundreds of thousands of dollars that I want you to think of as a marketing expense. So let's go outside of that. So if they don't do that, what are some ways that they can get patients?
The other ways they can get patients is marketing, and there are two types. We all know traditional. So if you go back 25 years ago, most of the new patients came from traditional marketing. Today, 5% of the new patients come from traditional marketing, and 95% of the new patients to a practice comes from digital marketing. So if you don't want to give up half of the money you make to PPO plans, your choices are traditional marketing and digital marketing.
Well, I want to ask the second question because it was submitted by a listener, and I believe this question needs to be answered.
Right.
Let's start with PPO plans. What are the pros and cons of the PPO plan?
Absolutely. I think the pro is it's the easiest, right? You just keep signing up for plans, you'll keep getting new patients. That's the pro. It's like that, deal that's too good to be true. It's, yeah, I'll send you as many patients as you want,
I
but
want to say I want to say like zero effort.
zero
That's not
effort,
quite true. You still have to sign up, but I don't
right?
know. Aaron, my grandmother taught me, the words echo, my late grandmother, it echoes in my head. She said, Gary, don't go for easy, go for worthwhile.
Right. I
So,
think your grandmother was wise because usually the things that are not worthwhile are not worthwhile.
well, probably the smartest person I've ever met. And she had a eighth grade education, but simply the smartest human being I've ever met. Well, what are the cons? Can
Yeah,
I
I mean
cover that one, Aaron?
yeah, you go for it, Gary. You have,
So
I mean,
the
you are
the
the founder
cons
of.
of the cons are
Right.
many. One is financially. Uh, you're giving up a massive amount of your fees. In fact, it might pain you to know this, but on some of those PPO plans, you're actually losing money. It's costing you money to provide that care to the patient. So
Right.
financial is one. And sadly, many dentists don't know what they're writing off because you've entered your contracted fees into your PPO, into the practice management software. You don't know what you're writing off. But just to give you an idea, a practice that is a PPO heavy practice, like say they have 85% of their patients are PPO, that's very common, collecting $1 million. That office has to produce 1,537,000 in order to collect $1 million. The 537 difference there is not a collections problem. It's an adjustment problem.
Right.
So the cons, very simply, are financial, but it goes deeper than that. When patients come to you because they found you on the dental insurance website, the truth is you could get a good patient from Delta, from United Concordia, through Connection Dental, through Aetna Travelers, whatever one you name. Naren, would you agree you could get good patients from them?
Absolutely, Gary.
Absolutely, you can.
Yes.
But many of them arrive with baggage. And the
Yes.
baggage that they arrive, think how they found you. They found you through their insurance. And they arrive with an insurance mindset, meaning I only want to have this done if it's covered by my insurance. And given all the limitations, plan limitations, things that aren't covered, ortho and implants and complex full mouth restorative dentistry, how likely is a patient that has an insurance mindset interested in those things?
Not likely. Very
Not
unlikely.
likely. Not
Yes.
likely. Um, All right, I won't beat it to death, but there are many more cons than pros to reducing your insurance dependence or to staying in PPO plans. Much better off to successfully resign from those PPO plans. All right, let me go to question number 3. What are the different types of digital marketing options available to me? That was submitted by a dentist listener.
Yeah. So here I'm just going to list them and then perhaps we'll go into more detail later on. So the four big types of digital marketing options available are search engine optimization. Number two is Google Ads. Number three is organic social media. Organic social media is getting free traffic from social media platforms. Think of it that way. And then number four is social media ads. So those are the four big options you have. Pretty much these four combined make up all the digital marketing patients you're going to get, pretty like almost all of that 95%.
That makes a lot of sense. Later, we're going to talk about what are other non-digital options available, but I think you covered the most common ones right there. Question number 4. Let's talk about search engine optimization versus Google Ads. And if you would explain, what are they? What is search engine optimization, and what is a Google ad, and how they're different?
Absolutely. So search engine optimization is, let's say a patient uses their smartphone, their computer, and start looking for information. So maybe they type in dentist near me. Maybe they have a toothache and they're typing in toothache dentist open late evenings because it's 4 o'clock and they want to find a dentist who can take care of their toothache, and they just want to find that dentist. So they start typing in whatever they're looking for into that Google. Sometimes they can speak it, they can type it, they might be on the phone, they might be on the computer. So what shows up, without you having to pay money for an ad, it's called SEO. In other words, you showing up organically because that's what Google considers is the best answer for that particular question. That's called search engine optimization. So you're optimizing your website, you're optimizing your pages, so you show up at the top as the answer to all these thousands of questions related to dentistry that you care to be the dentist for. So if you don't do toothaches, then of course don't show up for that. If you don't do veneers, don't show up for that. So whatever you're interested in, you showing up organically without paying money is SEO.
And we want
Google
them.
Ads,
We want to be found on page one,
page one.
because
Actually,
nobody goes to page two.
yes, exactly. That's where you hide the dead body. So you definitely want people on, you want to be on page one. And then Google Ads is, if you don't have the knowledge or expertise to show up for free at the very top, then your only option is pay money to Google, and they will show your ad next to that keyword. So you can say if somebody types in toothache Phoenix and you want that patient, you can, pay $4 a click, and Google will show your ad next to that keyword search. That's called Google Ad. Now,
So we can get there for free
yes,
with mastering organic search engine optimization, or we can throw money at Google. And I will comment something you've shared with me, Naren, and I want to give you credit for where I learned it. Only 5% of the websites on the World Wide Web get free traffic.
yes,
Only 5%. And now let's translate that to dentists. So that means only 5% of dental office websites are gonna get free traffic. The other 95%, because they don't get it, they don't earn it. It means it's earned. You earned the ranking.
right,
Means you got to throw money at Google. So you want to be
exactly.
in the top 5% that is getting free traffic, and getting on page one when someone's searching for whether it be a dental office or a dental service in your area.
That is a part two to this question you asked me, Gary. And the question was, what are they, which I answered, and then how are they different?
Yeah.
Right. So let me address that. So the number one difference is the difference in cost. So let's say you're attracting a patient through SEO, which is the free results you show up, versus through Google Ads. What we notice, we work with close to 500 doctors. Most of them are dental practice owners. And what we notice is at the end of year one of doing SEO, the cost of getting the patient, let's say you're spending $1,000 on SEO, to get the exact same kind of patients with Google Ads, at end of year one, you have to spend $5,000. At end of year two, you may have to spend $8,000. So the cost between SEO and Google Ads is significant even at the end of year one, and then it continues to grow even further. So 5 times difference, 8 times difference. And why?
Can I quantify it a different way, Naren?
Yes.
I'm going to quantify it in terms of my client results. I'm talking about, we work with clients all over the country, and I get to
Right.
see their profit and loss statements. For years, experts in marketing have suggested that an appropriate budget for marketing is somewhere between 3 and 5% of your revenue. So if you had $1 million practice, 3% would be 30,000 a year, and if you're spending 5%, it'd be 50,000 a year. And the
Right.
experts have said that's an appropriate market budget, and they usually target it towards your appetite for growth. So, for example, if you are looking for modest growth, say single-digit percentage growth, with 3%, 4% growth, then a 3% budget should be able to produce that result for you. If you have a higher appetite for growth, maybe you've added another doctor, you're in a growing area, you'd like to grow, and maybe you want double-digit percentage growth, 10% or more, then appropriate budget would be 5%. Naren, I just scrubbed all of our clients, our coaching clients, and our clients are spending less than 1.5% on marketing. And
Right.
we have an internal goal with our clients of growing by at least 10% a year. So that double-digit percentage growth. So instead of 5% of their revenue, which, in $1 million practice, we're using $1 million because it's a round number, that's $50,000 a year. Instead of that, it's 1.5%, which means they're spending $15,000 a year. So when you quantify the difference there, that's a difference of 35 grand. I don't
Exactly.
care what neighborhood you're in. Imagine using that to give yourself a raise, use
Right.
that to pay down some debt, use that to buy some upgraded equipment. That's the difference. Here, let me switch to the fifth question. You talked earlier about social media. What is organic social media? And then when you define that, I want you to ask the question, does it work for practice owners? So what is organic social media?
Yeah, organic social media is, I would say, it's a cousin brother of SEO. SEO is getting free traffic from Google. Organic social media is getting free traffic from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, these social media platforms. So today, you asked me the second question, does it work for practice owners? Today, I would have to say it works, but it only works for 1% who are influencers. So of the 500 practices we work with, 1% of my clients, so less than 5 of them are what I call influencers. Influencer is somebody who is posting 1 to 2 videos a day. Influencer is somebody who's spending 15 to 20 hours a week becoming a celebrity, right? That's what an influencer is. They put their lives out there. They are teaching things. They're sharing things. They go on a trip. They do 3 videos about the trip. They have a kid. They're doing videos about the kid. They are becoming, think of Oprah, but their own Oprah.
The dental version of Oprah.
Dental version of Oprah. I mean, I'm sure you have seen the singing dentist. In
Yeah.
dermatology, there is the pimple popper. So we all have these, mini Oprahs, like maybe 4, 5, 10 that we can think of in dentistry or in any healthcare practice. But what I'm finding is of my 500 doctors, most of my clients, 99% of them, did not go to school to become a celebrity. They almost shy away from the limelight. And also, they don't have the time or the energy or the excitement to spend 15 to 20 hours a week.
It doesn't really fit the temperament of most doctors, most dentists. I mean,
Yes,
it could, but I think most dentists, that's not their natural personality.
exactly. And also, I think, and I think they love medicine. Like, I mean, I still think to this day, the number one reason dentists do dentistry is they love what they do. They love the science and the medicine and then the difference they make. So they don't really care about like getting in front of a camera and lights and the angles and everything else. But 1% of my clients do. So for them, I think if you're in that 1%, my answer is absolute yes. Organic
Yeah.
social media will work for you. But if you're not in that 1%, my answer is absolute no. It'll be a waste of your time because it's not really going to make much of a difference for you.
And I'll contribute to that question, Niran. I think every practice should have a Facebook page.
Yes.
But it's really not going to be effective to generate new patients. It's really going to
Yes.
be a way for your existing patients to comment, to go to be part of your community, and to be engaged with your practice. But it really isn't a new patient generator. At least that's been my experience, not only at Life Smiles, but with clients. It doesn't generate, but it's useful to have. And I think at the minimum, a practice should have a Facebook page and an Instagram page.
Yeah, I think the way I think about it is imagine running a practice without a telephone, right? Imagine running a practice without an email address. Where like, oh, well, you can't email me, right? That you can't do that. So it's one of those check boxes you have to check. Like you can't be stubborn and say, well, I don't want to check it. I'm not going to have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
But don't buy a gold telephone. Don't spend $10,000 on your telephone. It's a telephone. It does its uses, but you don't need to spend $10,000 on a gold telephone because patients are not going to come to you more because you have a gold telephone. I mean, of course, if you're an influencer, it's a different story. But if you're not an influencer, that's where I would stop.